Hi, I'm Brooks Howard, Enterprise Account Executive at Inscribe. Our Inscribe team works with banks, credit unions, lenders, and fintechs to automate the manual document review processes that happen during customer onboarding and underwriting. The goal of this demo here is to show you how Inscribe helps teams operate more efficiently when reviewing documents and help catch fraud that the human eye might miss using AI. Here we have a Wells Fargo bank statement. I'm sure many of you have seen this before and are familiar with what it looks like. Can you detect the fraud on the statement? This is the challenge that teams face every day as they review hundreds or thousands of documents of different types from different issuers or institutions. This whole process is really inefficient. It's making subjective decisions, and it becomes even more challenging when you're looking at statement types that your team is less familiar with. In a moment, I'm going to show you the types of insights that Inscribe is able to pull on this document in just a matter of seconds with the power of AI. First, though, you may be wondering, if I want to process documents in Inscribe, how do I get them there? There are a couple different ways you can do this. First, if you have your own document collection portal today, you can continue using that, save the files to your computer, and then drag and drop them into Inscribe for instant processing. Second option that you're seeing on the page here is Inscribe's document collection portal. Here you can specify which types of documents you want applicants to upload, have them upload them instantly into this portal, and then the processing will happen on the back end in Inscribe without your team having to drag and drop the files. The third option is to leverage Inscribe's API to collect the documents, process them, and return results instantly, so your team never has to have paperwork cross their desk. Now, before we jump into Inscribe, let's look back quickly at our statement from Jane Deere and see if we can catch the fraud one more time. Going into Inscribe, you'll see that there are a couple of areas of the document that were immediately flagged as suspicious in the top left and in the bottom right around the name and the address boxes. If we look at the right side, you'll see that there are a number of different fraud signals that are called out that indicate that this document shouldn't be trusted. These signals fall into two main buckets. First, there are document forensics or metadata signals, such as, was a PDF editing software used on this document? Was the creation date of the document different from when it was last modified? And then the second bucket are what we call network signals. So Inscribe has processed tens of millions of documents on behalf of our customers over the last 7 years. And through that, we've built a really strong ground truth for what a legitimate statement looks like versus one that might be a little bit different in the font or the formatting. You'll see us calling that out in fingerprint here on the right side. Last and best of all, for certain documents, you can actually pull back and see the revision history to know exactly what was changed from the previous version. Here we're looking at the document we just saw from Jane Deere, but when we pull it back, we can actually see that this was modified and revised from John Doe's statement from 149 Natoma Street, and Jane essentially just put her information over the top of John's statement and applied for a loan. If you approve this, it's very likely to lead to a loss, but you can even see from this example how the font and the formatting is slightly different from what it should look like. Now, using all of these signals and our familiarity with the document type, we'll always return a trust score to help you automate decisions if you choose that path. Looking at scores below 25 are typically rejected, scores above 75 are auto-approved, and this allows your team to process fewer documents manually on a day-to-day basis. For this example, though, let's pretend that the documents we're looking at are legitimate. We wanted to go ahead and approve them from a fraud perspective, and then we wanted to underwrite the business or the individual. The next thing we'd want to look at within the statement are their balances and their transactions and see what types of insights we can derive to see if they would be able to repay the loan. Inscribe, in the same amount of time that we'll process the document for fraud, will extract text from the bank statement and be able to build insights on top of that lenders are looking for when making underwriting decisions. These include things like minimum and maximum balance over the period, average balance for the period, business or personal income. Is this person or business getting loans from other places? Are there risk signals within the transaction lines? Other important metrics that your team might be looking for when trying to make faster and more informed credit decisions. Once you've gone through and you've uploaded all the documents and you want to start better understanding your customers and where fraud is coming from, you can always jump back into the analytics page to see all of the customers that you've uploaded, what your fraud rate is, and the types of different documents that are getting flagged for fraud if you want to investigate more deeply and help prevent fraud in the future. Thank you all for the time today. Hopefully this helped illustrate how Inscribe can automate some of the document review processes your team is going through today. But best of all, we'd love to run a free proof of concept with you to see if Inscribe can catch fraud that your team might be missing or your team might be less certain about. Feel free to check us out at inscribe.ai or feel free to shoot me a direct note at brooks@inscribe.ai. Thank you again.